Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial. We're doing a colour challenge and various other things I'm going to show you today. Lots of different reasons for making the video today. So we're going to design a card using these three colours. These are the colours that were in the creative colour challenge that's run by Vicky Lou Designs. Link will be in the description if you want to take a look at that. So this challenge ended actually yesterday, so I entered my card in there yesterday, but I thought I'd share how I made it with you guys today. So our colours are going to be Mango Melody, Soft Seafoam and Grey Granite. So that's the colour palette that we're using, so that's the choice of colours and the reasoning behind that. So when I was thinking about what I was going to make, I thought instantly went to florals because, you know, there was a green in there and an orangey colour in there. So flowers really spoke to me. And also we now know what is retiring from the current annual catalogue. So there's a few favourites of mine that I want to squeeze in, have another look at with you guys so that you don't miss out on purchasing those items too. So if you click across into the shop, there will be links down, scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a link to the online store. There'll be individual links to these products as well, but if you click in the online store, there'll be some sort of banners on the front for the last chance products in there too. So I'm going to be using this In Bloom stamp set. So I've made loads of cards with this over the course of its lifespan in the annual catalogue. It's great as a stamping on its own card, stamp set, sorry. You can just use the stamps, you can just use the dies, you can combine the two, alright? So it's a really, really great set. So the stamp set is In Bloom, it's photopolymer, and the dies are called Pierced Blooms. Okay, so those are one element. And then I'm really sorry that my favourite dies in the entire world, my Stitch So Sweetly dies, are retiring, which is simply just, oh, just heartbroken. Very, very versatile set, great set to get in your stash if you're beginning, because you've got these lovely interesting rectangles with the scalloped edge and the stitch detail, which are perfect for little accents on your cards and sentiments and panels and all sorts of things. And then you've got these lovely labels that go with it too, so again really great for framing your sentiments on your cards. So I have these on this magnetic sheet in my drawer next to me because I use them that often. Okay, so they're just quick and easy for me to grab out of the drawer. So yes, they are retiring too, so that's very, very sad. Likewise, two of my favourite punches, here we go. So Tailored Tag and the Sprig Punch, we'll be using these today as well. Okay, super duper. So the card we're making is this one, okay, with a grey granite card base, all the accent colours in there, just a little pop of the Mango Melody coming through in the centre of the flowers, bit of vellum creeping in as well, and the leaves are just sort of tucked in underneath, so you've still got some movement in the card as well, so that makes it look absolutely stunning. Grey and this pale green, the Soft Seafoam, are a beautiful combination, and just really like this pop of orange in there too. So there we go, that's the card that we're going to make today. So all of those dies and things will fit through our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So this is the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so you can probably tell by my hands this isn't very big at all. Okay, and it comes with its handle attached, okay, in the box. Nice handle for you to carry it around. It's so light, look, one finger, no problem at all, it doesn't hurt at all. Yeah, the handle's fixed, whereas the big machine you just have to put the handle on with a little screw that comes in the box. Folds out like the big brother machine. Okay, so that folds out either side, so you then run your plates through. When you buy your ribbon machine, you will get all the plates that come with it. So we have a number 1 plate, which is your base platform for everything that you're going to do. Okay, and it tells you on the plate here exactly what your sandwich needs to be. So when you're die cutting, okay, you put your base platform down and then you sandwich your dies between these 2 clear cutting plates, which is exactly the same formula that we would have with the Big Brother one, apart from the fact that you don't need to introduce a thin die plate. Alright, so number 1, sandwich your die and cardstock through, and then you can run those through. And you'll also get your number 3 and number 4 plate. So you can use regular embossing folders or 3D embossing folders with this too, so long as they are the width of the machine. So there's a few around at the moment. So this one, for example, it's the greenery set. You get a set of 2, so those would fit through nicely, and this is a standard embossing folder, which means you'd use this number 3 grey plate. Alright, so they are clearly marked in the catalogue which ones are suitable for going through the mini cut and emboss, and at the moment the mini cut and emboss is on special through March with 20% off, and there are also 20% off selected dies as well. So if you do hop along to the store link there, you will see some more details about that. So the other fantastic thing about this is it's just so light and portable. It can literally go wherever you like, very easy to transport. And also, if you've got a very small crafting space, if you have to sort of borrow the dining room table or whatever, and you don't have a dedicated space for crafting, this is perfect, because it just doesn't take up too much room. And then when you're finished, you can just fold it away, and it takes up even less room than that. All right. So all the dies we've used today are compatible with the mini machine. So I'm just going to demo that being used. So I'm just going to leave my base platform and one of the number 2 plates on the machine there, and these dies are perfect for using up scraps. I'm going to keep you zoomed out just for a little bit longer. So the Mango Melody here, this is the Mango Melody cardstock. So I did use the die there. These ones have the 2 shapes in one, so we don't actually need any additional ones, but just this little scrap of cardstock was sufficient to cut those out. So we don't need to cut any more of those, because I only need 1 centre for each of my flowers. So that's what we did with that bit. And just a word on scraps, it's always worth keeping hold of these scraps, right? And I use these little clear boxes. These are actually photo boxes. Now, somebody in the Stampin' Up team group recommended these, so you can find them on that that online store that sells everything. And I think they're just called photo boxes. I got the 6x4 ones. There are some 5x7 ones as well, I think, and I got there's 6 in the set, which means you've got room for each of your colour families. And then just on there, I've just labelled mine with a sort of permanent marker there, but you could stick a label on it or whatever. But these are great just for these little scraps of cardstock. Those were my brights, which is what Mango Melody came out of. And then I've got my scraps of subtles, which is what soft seafoam belongs to, and I can just grab those and use them up. Okay, and I've got another box for regals and neutrals, and then 2 other boxes which are for in colours. Okay, so again, this was the scrap of soft seafoam, so you saw where I got those first 2 from. So we'll just bring in those dies. So just like with the large machine, you can cut multiple dies at once, so long as you don't cross the streams, then you're fine. So I'm just going to position that on the plate there. Okay, put the other one on top, and then just sort of feed it into the machine, and then start cranking that through, just like I would with my large machine. If you want to come back, you can. Some of the intricate dies, you may find that going backwards and forwards helps you get that extra amount of detail in there. And that is it. It works in exactly the same way. And we just pull those out. The stems on these are quite delicate, so just be careful. And it cuts with just the same quality as you'd expect from the large machine, just in a cute and compact format. Alright, so like I say, scraps, if there's any chance I can use them for die cutting or punching or anything like that, I keep them. Okay, my wonderful friend Tina, who sadly is no longer with me, she used to giggle. She used to say, "It's just a scrap, what are you going to use it for?" I used to say to her. And this is the perfect thing that you would do. Alright, so once that started feeding through, you can just crank that through all the way to the back. Whoops. And drop them all. Okay. So there we go. There's our small flower and our large flower. Like I say, with exactly the same quality as you'd expect. I love the stitch detail on these dies, isn't that just super duper? Alright, so now that one definitely is dead now. If I can't fit a sentiment on it or anything, then that's dead. But ooh, I've got a bit there, because I'll bet you that small flower would fit on there, wouldn't it? Look, see, it's still good. I'm keeping it. Okay. I know there are people who will be going, "Oh my god, throw it away," but you know, hey ho. Right, so this is finished with. I can just fold that away now, and it's going to move to one side. It's so easy just to move around and put away. And these are really nice and easy to store as well, because they're so small. So I'm just going to pop those where they belong, over there on my desk. I've got like an index card thing. You know those things with the tabs in, so you can keep like names and addresses in. I have one of those, and it's perfect for embossing folders and things. So here's all our bits and pieces. The only other thing to do is, do a bit of punching. So I'm going to use the sprig punch again, another favourite of mine, which I'm really sad to see go. Very versatile punch here. Just great to add some extra sort of movement and a different bit of foliage and stuff behind one of your other cards. And I do like vellum. It gives you a soft look there. People have used these for reindeer antlers and all sorts of things, but as I say, I just love it for those decorative elements. So look out for that one as well in the catalogue. And likewise the tailored tag. Loads of things you can do with tailored tag. So I'm going to grab the do you know what I might do this time? I might stamp the sentiment in Mango Melody, just for a bit of oh, I haven't finished die cutting, that's why. Oh, right, okay. I have got ahead of myself. That's what this piece of paper's for. You know that scrap of paper that I said, ooh, I'm not going to throw that away. Oh, yes. Look at that. There we go. So I am going to stamp a sentiment. But I've just realised there's something else I needed to die cut. So just going to grab my stamp. Now I've already stamped that in the grey granite, and I thought I was going to use the same ink, so I was just going to clean that off, make sure it's nice and clean. Light tapping on the ink pad, and you can see through this photopolymer stamp. Now if it was a red rubber one, I would not be stamping directly onto a tag like this. I'd have stamped it first and then punched it. but because I can see through it and line it up, it's a bit safer, if you know what I mean. So that was easy to line up. That was Mango Melody, just to give you an alternative look, just see how it looks. I think the Grey Granite's going to be my personal favourite, but just to give you an alternative, there we go. Alright, so the other thing with tailored tag is that you can do your own banner ends as well if you want to. So it is quite versatile. It's quite a nice masculine shape as well if you want to do masculine cards. So I've put away my cut and emboss a little bit prematurely because this piece of paper is just it's 3 inches wide, which is what you need for going through your mini machine. And I'm going to use my Stitch So Sweetly, my favourite set in the world. This is the second largest of those rectangles. So like I say, base plate, number 2 plate, put your cardstock and your die on. Okay. Like with the other one, if you can get it on at an angle so it's not got a straight edge hitting that roller, then all the better. If you can't, fine, just make sure you roll it through, feed it through, and once it starts rolling, it'll go through really easy. Okay, so now we're finished with it. Okay, beautiful. I'm just going to keep hold of that for a second. So let's just pop him away and we can get on with the rest of the card. There you go, everything where it belongs. Don't put it down, put it away. So some scrap paper we're going to need now. So I'm just going to bring in this well used piece of mini grid paper, small grid paper. Okay, and I'm going to slot this die cut back into its die, and you'll feel it because it sort of locks into place. Trust me, you'll understand what I mean when you actually do it yourself. You will be able to feel that it's locked back into position. Okay, and we're going to take our soft sea foam, ink pad and a blending brush, and we're just going to put a little bit of ink around the edge of this. It's super subtle because it's a really subtle colour. Okay, which is going to be barely discernible, I should imagine, on your screen, but I can see that that's come across lovely. Now, if I bring that up, I don't know whether the light is good enough for you to see that there's just a hint of colour on there. I don't know whether you can see it better on the finished sample, because I went round a bit more on that one. But it just gives you that sort of clean white border on your scalloped edge there, and just adds a little bit more interest without too much effort. Okay, so I just pop those away. I have like a little tool thing that I found, which is great for these, and sort of stick up in there. I've seen them used for loads of things, crochet hooks and pens and goodness knows what. Okay, right, assembling. Before I do that bit, I'm going to just stick the centres of the flowers on so that they can be just drying while doing everything else. So multi-purpose glue is going on there, dries quickly and secures those things really, really well. This is going to go on flat. You don't need a lot of this glue, so it is very strong. Okay, but the wet glue just gives you some moments to try and make sure it's central and straight. Or straight-ish anyway. Okay, cool. We're going to need some dimensionals as well. Okay, so flowers and sentiment are going to need dimensionals. So just one in the centre of each of those will be perfect. I'll just put a couple on the back of the sentiment. And again, because we're sort of trying to make sure that these line up and where we want them, dimensionals will grab pretty much straight away. It's sort of instant, isn't it? Okay. So putting a bead of glue on the back of there gives you the repositionability of the liquid glue, but the sort of speed, if you like, of dimensionals. Okay, so we're going to position our flowers where we think they're going to be, something like that, I think. So just that, having that wet glue behind just gives you an opportunity to mess about with the layout a little bit before deciding where everything's going to sit. Okay, so I'm going to go with that, I think. So now I'm just going to put some pressure on those, and then that will give us the dimension that we want. Just dabs of glue on the base of those little sprigs there as well, so they can just slot in underneath there. If you need to use a sort of pokey tool or something to get those underneath, you can. I sort of like to get under there and just sort of give those a press to make sure that the glue's making contact with the base card. And then similarly with our die cuts, just going to pop some on these base leaves to anchor them. Okay, so by not gluing them down in their entirety, you still get some nice dimension and movement on your design. Okay, so again, you can use your pokey to just make sure that they're in contact with the card. Okay, and similarly with this one, so we'll just lift that up slightly. It's going to overhang the sentiment, which is cute. Okay, so I like things to sort of, when you get overlap on your design, your eyes instantly connects the things together and you see it as a whole. Okay, so sort of twisted and slightly on its layout compared to the original sample, but that's the thing with handmade cards, you're not going to reproduce them exactly every time. Just make sure your top crease is nice and sharp, and that's it, my friends. We're not going to add any embellies or anything, but you could totally do that if you fancied adding some rhinestones or some pearls or something like that. Don't forget, if you use those, you could also colour them with markers to make them match your project. Okay, so it's just another tip there. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I think the grey sentiment is my favourite personally, because I just like the fact that the mango is just in those two little spots, just to give it a bit of a pop. Alright, but choice is yours, and of course you could replicate this card in any colour combination that you particularly like. Okay, any neutral cardstock, a coordinating green, and then a pop of bright whatever that might be for those centres is fantastic. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. I hope there's been some little tips. Don't forget to check out what's retiring in the last chance products, and get in there quick, because once everyone knows things are going, all of a sudden they start to sell out. Okay, so do take a look at those and check out the offer on the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss as well. So a great deal there. Okay, so that's it from me. Bit of a longer video, but I hope it's been enjoyable. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Take care, bye.